Hey guys, Travis Gillespie here. Today we're going to look at the area of circles. In this first example, we're asked to estimate the area of each circle. Since we're dealing with area and we know our shape's a circle, our first step whenever dealing with area is to always write down the formula for our shape. Since it's a circle, we're going to write down the formula for the area of a circle. The area of a circle is equivalent to pi r squared. Now let's talk about pi for a second because it's a really important number. So I'm just going to put pi down here. I know we've talked about it in the past, but let's just talk about it again. Pi is never ending. It's non-terminating, non-repeating. So that means this is an irrational number. If I were to try to write the entire number, I would never stop. This video would go on forever. So we're going to have to stop it at some point. So instead of writing the equal sign, I'm going to use this other symbol. It means approximately or about. So pi is about, and I'm just going to write a few digits down, 3.14159. Oop, and let's just fix that real quick, 14159. And then after that, I'm going to put 3 dots, 1, 2, and 3, telling you that, hey, this goes on forever. Now you can actually memorize these digits if you want. You could memorize more if you want, but I'm just going to stop here because in school, typically, you're given another value to memorize, and that value is 3.14. Most of the time, you're just going to deal with this value here. I'm going to just make a little bit more room because I need to write a little bit more in a second. All right, so here we are. So 3.14 is what you'll typically be asked to remember, but sometimes you'll be given another value for pi, and that value is 22 over 7. If we were to actually divide 22 by 7, it would give us another value that's similar to 3.14, and so on and so on and so on. It's got some different digits though, and I'm not going to write them down. You can do it on your calculator if you want, or do it by hand. It's pretty cool to check out, but this is just another value that you can use to represent that symbol pi. So far, pi is about 3.14159. Pi is about 3.14. Pi can be about 22 over 7. Or sometimes if we're asked to, in this problem, I'm going to just scroll up for a second, we're asked to estimate, sometimes we can make this value even simpler. So if we're going to estimate pi to a simple value, well, let's just turn it into, instead of 3.14, let's just use the value 3. So typically in school, I'm just going to box up the 3 digits, or I mean 3 values that you'll typically use for pi. You'll usually use one of these 3 values. And the only one you'll really ever need to memorize for pi is this first one, unless you have teachers later on in another course that say, hey, you know what, I want you to memorize more digits for pi. But typically you'll use 3.14. Now, what about these other values below? Well, if you're going to use 22 over 7, the problem will typically indicate that they want you to use this value for pi. Also, if you're going to use the value 3, the problem will typically tell you to estimate. So all you have to do is memorize 3.14, and then if a problem asks you to estimate pi, or estimate the area of a circle, you can estimate this value, 3.14, to 3. It's pretty simple. Okay, so now let's substitute values into our formula. So I'm just going to make that formula visible, and let's change colors. So the first thing I want to do, since I'm estimating this formula or this value, I'm going to plug in 3 for pi, or substitute 3 in for that symbol pi, and I'm going to plug parentheses around it because I'm going to multiply 3 times the radius here. So 3 times r. Well, let's talk about the radius for a second. I'm just going to make a note that the radius is equal to 19.7, and we can see that below in our circle. However, we're asked to estimate, so let's actually use the approximation symbol again and round 19.7 to 20 because it's an easy value to calculate. All right, so I'm going to substitute 20 in for the radius here. So I have 20 squared. From here, all I have to do is find what 20 squared is, or 20 times 20. And if you've memorized it, great, because that's what you're asked to do in my class. But if you need a calculator or can do it by hand, just multiply 20 by 20 and you get 400. So now we have 3 times 400. So I'm just going to put parentheses around that. And now our next step is to multiply 3 times 400, which gives us a value of 1,200. But you want to get full credit on an exam or a quiz or something, or you just want to be able to indicate that you understand you're looking for area. You're not showing the value for the perimeter or some other value such as volume. So I'm going to bring that A back down. So A, and I'm not going to use the equal sign. I'm actually going to say A, the area is approximately 1,200. Don't forget your units since we're dealing with meters in our circle. I'm going to plug meters in here and we're going to square them since we're dealing with the area. So the area is about 1,200 meters square. Cool stuff. Let's look at another problem here. In this next problem, we're also going to estimate the area here. So let's, first step, rewrite the formula for the area of a circle. So A is equal to, let's fix that equal symbol or equal sign here. And we know that the area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. Another reason we're rewriting this area formula is it's good practice so that it helps you to embed it in your brain or your mind so that when it comes time that you don't have your formula chart on you, you will know the formula by heart. Cool. So now let's substitute values in. We already know that pi is going to be estimated to 3. And now let's plug in the value for the radius. Well, we see in this picture here, this shape, this figure of the circle, that 28 feet is actually the distance for the diameter. So the diameter is equal to 28 feet, but we need to find the radius. We need to find r. Well, we know that the radius is half the diameter, so we've got to take half of 28 feet, which is equivalent to 14 feet. So now I'm going to substitute 14 in for the radius. So we've got 3 times 14 squared. So we're going to square 14. Well, let's bring our 3 down, and I'm going to use my parentheses still. All right, now quick mental check. We're trying to learn the first 20 perfect squares. So 14 times 14 is 196. That's our goal. Cool stuff. So since you have memorized it, or hopefully have memorized it, you know it's 196. If you don't know that it's 196, all you have to do off to the side is take 14. That looks like a 19, so let's fix that real quick. All you have to do is take 14 and multiply it by itself 2 times. So 14 times 14. And let's actually fix that multiplication symbol. I'm going to erase all this stuff below, just that 14 times 14, because it's not really necessary to be there. Cool. So we're going to take 3 and multiply it by 196. And when you do that, you get 588, don't forget your units, feet squared. Cool. But we also want to indicate that we've found the area. So let's bring that A down. The area is approximately 588 feet squared. Cool stuff. And we're going to box this up now.